Good evening and welcome to the Mint Perspective on the Budget. My name is Sukumar. To explain the newspaper's stand on the budget, we have with us three of the senior most editors of Mint. The good thing is, being senior editors, they don't agree with each other, which makes all our lives that much more interesting. I'm sure this will be a enlightening and enlivening discussion. We have Anil Padmanabhan in the far left. Anil is the policy expert of this newspaper, the policy and the government expert. Then we have Niranjan Rajadaksha, who's the managing editor of Mint. Niranjan is the economy expert of Mint. And we have Tamal Bandopadhyay, who's a deputy managing editor based in Bombay, and he's the banking and markets editor of Mint. We like to think that these three gentlemen are the last words in their respective subjects. There have been two schools of thought about this budget. Some people think that it's a very good budget, and some people think that it's a very boring budget. What do you think, Anil?
I wouldn't just swing between these two extremes. I think it's a good budget given the current circumstances that the economy is in. We are recovering from the aftershocks of a global meltdown. So when looking at the economy at this phase, these are the basic things he could have done to revive growth in the economy, again with a constraint on the fisc, where he can't borrow more, he can't spend more, he's got limits, but he's gone out on a limb. And lastly, I would like to say that he has signaled clear reforms. It's a question of reading in the fine print, and you definitely will get the fact that he is convinced that reforms will happen and will happen in this fiscal year.
Niranjan, Anil seems to think that it's actually a reformist budget. What do you think?
Well, I disagree with Anil. Just to step back a moment, yes, this is a tough year for the economy, for the global economy, for the Indian economy. But given that, I wonder whether they could have done a better job. And in any budget, there are two parts, right? There's one is the pure accounting part of what the fiscal deficit will be, how it's going to be financed, etc. And then there is the part where policy changes are signaled. And I think I'm underwhelmed by both. The fiscal deficit of 6.8% is way, way too high and almost dangerously high for India. And the reforms, well, Anil says that it's between the lines you can read it. I mean, if there were such things, I would assume that it would be more clear to the people. But I haven't seen too much of a reform thrust if you compare it with the economic survey or with the president's address.
Tamal, which camp are you in? Are you in Niranjan's camp or are you in Anil's camp?
Well, I think I would lean towards Niranjan than Anil. I think in one word, this is a budget, it's a populist budget and not a budget for reforms. One of the reasons why all of us, or rather most of us, are disappointed is this expectations were very high. So those expectations have not met. There is no clear intention on anything, be it addressing the interest rate infrastructure, be it FDI in retails and other areas, be it financial sector consolidation or opening up. Where is it? Be it even disinvestment.
Sum total of what Niranjan and Tamal said is, they don't seem to be able to see the same thing between the lines that you do, and both of them seem to feel that it's an opportunity lost. What exactly are the reform-oriented measures you see in this budget that bode well, not just for this year, but for the next 5 years?
Okay, let me just step back and give you a perspective on what I said and why I said so. These essentially question of sequencing. He's saying growth first, reforms later. Okay, in one line. If you keep that perspective in mind, you'll understand what I'm trying to say. When he talks about fiscal consolidation, he says there will be more institutional reform later in the year. So then he talks of fertilizer subsidy, where he goes to nutrient. The last line in that, he says, I'll eventually go to targeted fertilizer subsidy. It basically means only the needy farmers will get. In disinvestment, he again lays down markers, which I don't want to elaborate on all this. The idea was to just give you an example. So clearly he is insulated his budget. A, he doesn't want it, he wanted it completely growth focused. B, he didn't want to put anything which is politically sensitive into the budget, which will trigger a response. If he had said in disinvestment he wants to divest 51% from Air India, there would have been a political explosion in Parliament today. So he has cleverly skirted it. He's a seasoned politician. He knows what he's doing, and he has, if you read through the speech, repeatedly he has said that, signaled that this is not the final statement of policy. So I think the mistake we are all making is, we have been used to Chidambarams of the world who have constantly fed us on policy signals in the budget, which is missing, and that's missing by choice.